My biggest accomplishment is like the guys that are giving, seeing the guys earn to be able to give back. It is a muscle. It feels very strange when you're like, we got to give money. Let's get, and you bid 20,000, 10,000, whatever the number is at that moment. It's an exercise. Josh has done a great job with that, by the way. Like he's really evolved from that giving muscle. Lots of guys have actually. So, you can't outgive the world.
Hi, and welcome to the Flat Bill Investors Podcast. I'm Josh Zaglowski.
I'm Zach Spencer. Welcome. Josh, today we are blessed to have not one, but two men with the same name. We've got a legend here with us who literally has pulled himself up, grew up in a trailer park, now has gone on to do really, really well. 12, 13 books written, has been mentor to many, many people, and is an inspiration to all of us. We're lucky today. Here, I'll switch up the flat bill. See my shiny head.
Same barber.
Switch up the flat bill. We got Mark Evans in the house, and Mark Evans in the house. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you guys for having us. What do you say, Mark?
Hi.
Mark's here.
Mr. Enthusiasm.
Love it. We love to have you here.
Thanks for coming here, Mark. And Mark.
There you go.
Thank you for having us.
Well, good. I think when we start, because we put on the hats, it says DM. First, kind of go over where that came from.
Yeah, I was big into this weird thing called Dungeon Master. No, so like, but back in the day in Ohio, there was a guy named Mark Evans. I used to do a lot of real estate in Columbus, Ohio and stuff. And he was like an older guy in his 60s. So I'd go to the title company, like, oh, Mark Evans. So you have to sign all these documents. I'm not him, because he ripped off a lot of people. He did a lot of bad stuff. So my buddy's like, he's like, dude, you're like the doctor of money or the deal maker. So it became that. And then my mom's like, you've always made my dreams come true. You're the dream maker. So DM just kept coming up. And so I was like, let's call it Mark Evans DM. And then at the title company, no one called me Mark Evans. It's just like, hey, the DM's here to close the deal.
Oh,
so they
cool.
knew what docs to have ready. It was just easier, And it kind of just stuck. It became a brand,
Well, I think it's cool. And it's an awesome brand. I knew it as a deal maker, and I kind of seen the segue into like the dream maker and the deal maker. But I think dream maker is a big, I love that. I love creating dreams for people. And like you said, what your mom said about that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, tell us a little bit. I mean, I kind of in the intro brought it up, but tell us like where you come from. You're spending time in Ohio and Florida, but let's go back and meet younger Mark a little bit.
1996, small town Ohio, hour east of Columbus, Ohio. Grew up, like you said, in a trailer court till I was 10. Moved into the house my parents live in still today. Just a very small town, 650 people. Good, hardworking people, just they just work,
Yeah.
Blue collar.
Blue collar. And it is what it is. So, but I always wanted more, and I always watched my mom and dad, fight about money, not having it. So I'm like, we're all entrepreneurs. How do you solve problems? Money. Yeah. We're problem solvers. So if we can solve problems, big enough problems, we get money, we can solve other problems and, with the family. So I just always wanted to make money. I feel like I was kind of born an entrepreneur. I was always entrepreneurial, maybe just by default because, we needed money. So I started doing that 18 years old, 2 days after high school. I bought a seamless gutter company, $1,000 down, $287 a month for 5 years. The guy got in a bad car wreck, so he couldn't really do that. But one thing I learned is, you can buy companies, owner financing, creative financing. And then secondly is, if it's an existing business, which was in business 16 years before I bought it, this is the old days. You had to plug in the phone, call the phone company, get them out to your house and set up the separate lines. But literally as soon as we plugged in, the phone's ringing off the hook, right? He already had a brand reputation. He didn't do work for the last 3 months. So he had a lot of pin up demand. And so day one, I was doing business.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I didn't have to advertise. Everyone just
where did you find that? Like, how did that? Like,
it was in our neighborhood. Like, so I literally drove by his house every day to and from school. Right. Mm-hmm. So I stopped by. I was like, hey, his name was Larry. Everyone kind of knew him because he was kind of like the big deal in town. I was like, hey, Larry, my uncle wants to buy your company. What would you sell for? He's like, 50 grand. I'm like, okay, well, keep in mind, I'm the guy. So I'm like, I ain't got 50 grand. So they came back the next day or so. And I was like, hey, my uncle's not interested, but I am, but I ain't got 50 grand. He's like, well, what do you got? I was like, well, I got $1,000. And he's like, well, I'll sell it to you for 25 grand, $1,000. He's like a deal maker too,
Yeah.
And it was just sitting. I mean, it was legit just sitting. So he's like, what do you know about gutters? I was like, water runs downhill. And he shook my hand. He's like, you'll be fine. And he gave me the keys to the truck. And that was it, dude. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, you just got to stop. You just got to ask, though. I think that's entrepreneurship in general. You just don't know what you don't know until you ask, right?
Mm-hmm. That's been a big theme is just, everybody needs a mentor.
Yeah.
And no matter where you're at in life, there's going to be somebody who's done more, done better, and come from other things. That's great. That's
and
great
don't we
advice.
want to make everyone better too? Like if a young kid came to us, everyone thinks no matter what your age is, but like younger kids are like, well, I'm not old enough or I haven't earned it yet. And all that. The truth is guys like we want to like give them a hand up.
I think Josh,
to help them.
go ahead.
Yeah, the good example. I mean, there's, I'll say this first, and I wanted to kind of add what you're saying with that story. But like, my son is 17, my oldest, and he's going to be 18 in January, so next month. And I brought him to a different type of events that we've done, that I've done on the commercial real estate side. And sometimes he'll kind of pull away and he'll come see and talk to me. He's like, I'm not, I don't bring any value here. I'm like, don't worry about that right now.
Yeah.
You're 17, you're 16. He's done this a couple of times. And I'm always telling him, like, they know that. They're not requiring you to bring any value.
No.
They want to give back. They want to teach you, because believe me, in 10 years, they want to have that little impact and say, look what I helped out Gunnar with, on this little piece of his business, because that's actually very rewarding.
Yeah.
We always talked about of charity. Wait until you write a check for a big amount of money and you see what the impact is on someone. That's to me, I mean, it is good to make a big check on business and stuff, but that makes a huge impact for you for a long time. And it's a great example.
Yeah. It's different, right? You got to make those big checks to get out the big checks for charity too, right?
Well, I was going to say that maybe leads into this question. I mean, you've said you've written a handful of books. Tell us about like the favorite book or the book that you felt had the biggest impact on its readers.
Yeah, no, I think Magician vs. Mule definitely has. I've written a bunch of books. I use the books as more of a journey for my kids in the future and my grandkids, people that never meet me in my family. So each book is a different part of my journey, right? My first book was like accumulation of interviews with high-level
like a soft
people.
journal.
Yeah, soft journal, if you will. Yeah. And then it's just like where I was at in my life. It's like, hey, this is how my thinking is. This is what I've done. This is why I do what I do. And it's kind of like the kids can see it through that kind of lens as opposed to like, what they remember. Yeah. So they get older, then they can like learn.
That's cool.
But Magician vs. Mule to me is a good one. I got 2 more in the works right now. Relationship capital is a big thing for me. And then the giving muscle. Like these are kind of where I'm at in my journey, right? I'm very conscious of the relationship, 28 and a half years in the industry. As an entrepreneur, I want to be the best, I want to be bigger and help more people.
Well, I was going to say for me, when I think about Mark Evans or DM, I think about the Dealmaker family. And tell us a little bit about your group there. What
was the purpose why you started and stuff?
Yeah. Well, same thing you kind of talked about. It's like, listen, entrepreneurship is kind of an interesting sport, right? And sometimes it's kind of like lonely. You're talking to your team members. It's cool. I love these people, but like, I can't talk to them about like, hey, we're having a tough time right now. Things are really tight. I'm not taking any money, but you guys are getting paid, but you're still mad because you're not getting paid enough. Like, it's kind of like puts you in a quorum, but getting around like-minded guys, it's my 10th year doing it. I don't know how long I'll do it, but I enjoy it. I don't do it for the money. Money is important, but like, I genuinely I'm proud to work with these guys. They inspire me to be better. I inspire them to be better. Like we have positive peer pressure environment going on. Everyone talks about peer pressure. Like our peer pressure is very positive. Like most of us don't drink. We're very family oriented. Not to say drinking's bad. It's just, we're focused on growing businesses and growing revenue and growing families. And so everyone's in different seasons. Some people have children, some people don't, some people are married, some people aren't. Like, so it's kind of neat to, we're all mentoring each other, know?
Yeah. For full disclosure, I'm part of the DM family. And the one thing that I've really enjoyed in it, like when you talk about of kind of being alone. As an entrepreneur, you're alone. If you're alone, it's kind of your own fault a little bit. You're not getting out there. You're not talking to people. And I kind of did that for a few years, probably my early 30s to mid 30s until I kind of found masterminds. That was kind of my biggest thing. I was going to classes and stuff and you're paying $5,000, $10,000 here, but that wasn't a mastermind. It makes much different. And even this last year, you talk about like when you're talking about things are tight, when you had that conversation with your spouse, we had the one thing that we did this last 6 months ago is in Nashville is we had our spouses there. And that was actually kind of interesting to hear different perspectives from all the different entrepreneurs, spouses as well of what they go through. And what my wife goes through, and it made her feel a lot more at ease that there's other people.
She's not alone.
Yeah.
Well, misery loves company. You thought you were with the crazy guy. That guy's pretty crazy. Yeah. You're pretty lucky, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure.
No, it's neat to see that because again, but like there's so many seasons going on in that one room,
Yeah.
Some people are very young families starting out. Some people are kind of getting towards the end of it. It's very interesting dynamic. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, one thing you talked about that I wanted to add to what you're saying about asking the questions, if you don't ask the questions. It reminds me of like, I wasn't embarrassed to ask questions. And at the age of 23, I was at my very first mentorship in just real estate investing. It was a guy here in Salt Lake, Jeff Rappaport. And I remember writing down questions and I had about 20 questions and I was like, man, I can't tell them all 20. And because I'm in a class of like 15, 20 people and I didn't even know what equity was, but I wrote down FISBO and I spelled it FISBO. And I'm like, what is a FISBO? Because he keeps talking about, you get this FISBO and, put this cell, for sale sign, and I'm like, what is a FISBO? And so I asked him that question. He kind of chuckled a little bit because, he's been saying FISBO all day, but he's like, how many people don't know what FISBO is? And there's like 4 or 5 people. I don't know what you're saying when you say FISBO.
Oh, wow.
And he said it's for sale by owner. There was no I in it, but I wrote down FISBO, right?
Yeah. But if you're not
just
in
little
real
things
estate,
like that,
you'd never know.
And that one little question, I could have sat, and then back then there wasn't really internet. I mean, there was, but it was dial up, and they don't have, I don't even know if there's Google, and that would have been easy, but I probably would have spelled it on Google, FISBO. So that's a little question that sometimes we don't ask. And so it's always good to ask that question.
I mean, asking questions, we keep revolving around like mentorship, having a mentee, things like that. What would you say one of your big accomplishments is with what you've done thus far and with the Dealmaker family and the things you've done? What are 1 or 2 of the things that you're most proud of?
I mean, my biggest accomplishment is like the guys that are giving. Seeing the guys earn to be able to give back. It is a muscle. It feels very strange when you're like, we got to give money. Let's get, and you bid 20,000, 10,000, whatever the number is at that moment. It's an exercise. Josh has done a great job with that, by the way. Like he's really evolved from that giving muscle. Lots of guys have actually. Mm-hmm. So, and then they see Josh do it, and then they see Keith do it, then they see Martin. Like it becomes a cool little competition. It's like, you can't outgive the world. Yeah. Right. So it's like we're giving to give. It's coming from a great place. Yes, it's scary sometimes. Yes, it's like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? But after you do it, you almost realize like, it's like whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But now it resets your thermostat. And now you giving 50,000 a year is easy, or 500,000, whatever the number is. So I'm very proud of that. And just seeing the guys succeed, man, that's like amazing to me, and watch their families grow and, I'm in the game forever. Like I'm sure all of us as entrepreneurs are. That's the best thing we got. We're not like athletes where we have like a limited time and it's very short. That's, we actually get better in time. They get worse in time, because they get old and their bones hurt and they break things. And business, we break things, but we also learn from it and we get better and stronger and bigger. And I think ultimately like deep relationship capital, just like with a spouse, the longer you're together, the longer you go through the good and the bad together and communicate, dude, the sky's the limit. Yeah. It really is unlimited.
Yeah. Do you care elaborating a little bit on relationship capital? You've mentioned it a couple times now. Obviously, it's big on your mind right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, how are you in your own life improving those relationships and adding to that?
Just being very mindful. Yeah, very mindful, very thoughtful. Pay attention to the, everyone's telling you when their birthdays are and life moments are happening, all these things. So be conscious of that, sending gifts. I like to give gift stuff. I'm very mindful.
Josh just I posted in his story this morning, opening his gift. Yeah. Really nice. Yeah.
It's neat to do those kind of things and really just like let them know like, hey, you're not alone. We're here. I think it was part of the message on the card, even like as entrepreneurship, we can do, even if we're, say big and everyone knows who we are, whatever, you still feel alone sometimes. So it's like, hey, you have a community. You're never alone. We're here for you. By the way, enjoy the gifts kind of thing. So it's just more of a touch. Mm-hmm. I think that's the thing is like we live in such a virtual environment. How do you start bringing back real connection points?
Yeah, I love that.
And it could, dude, like the old days, back in the day, I'd see like cut out something in a newspaper and put it in and mail it to someone. You're like, hey man, you check this out, thinking about you. And it's like Utah real estate. I've not done this, Josh, but like I would do stuff like that back in the day. So there's lots of ways to do it if you don't have a lot of money or, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine right now if you hand mail, I know people like talk about this all the time, doing like old school, like
it's the best,
writing a handwritten letter or something like that. When you get that in the mail, you go, oh man, like they took action.
Honestly, I'm the type that I actually put it in my drawer, my desk, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
It means
something.
Yeah, it does mean something.
Not that it didn't take any less or more time than like an email. You might have spent more time on an email, but
it's the thought.
It's something that's mailed. Even if you type a letter and it's mailed, it's still mailed. I keep those letters for a long time.
Yeah, I've done this. I remember my buddy Jeremy. I did this in 2005. I was in some country and I sent him a postcard. Dude, it's still in his bag today. I promise. If I called him right now and say, hey, show, like it's in his bag. Yeah. So I've always kind of done it. If I'm in like, I think I sent you guys from Dubai recently, something from Alaska. Like if I'm out, like I'm thinking about the DM guys because like, dude, like. We have the best life in the world. Even on bad days, it's still a good day.
Oh yeah.
So, it's like we're very blessed to know each other and be a part of the journey. And sometimes some people are on the bus forever, some people are not, but it is what it is. It's a journey.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, one thing I was going to say too, and I know Mark knows this as an accomplishment is, part of why it's kind of like your why is the deeper side and the money is the top. You make money to have your why. And the one thing that, Mark has as far as accomplishment as well is he has plenty of time and good time with his family. he's got 2 kids. Obviously, Mark is the oldest.
You can tell it's important. You mentioned a couple times Abraham.
So he brings his family everywhere, and that's a huge accomplishment because that's tough for people. There was plenty of times, 5-10 years ago, like I missed my son's basketball games on Saturday because I had to go out of town and consult for real estate or whatever it was, and so it was tough, and I hated leaving, but I also needed to put extra food on the table. So.
Yeah, I think it's like everyone talks about balance. It's not necessarily a balance of priorities. And sometimes priorities shift when things are going, if it's tough out there financially.
Yeah, of course.
But I think it all comes down to communication at that point. So if that happens, I'd sit down, like if I'm doing a big event specifically, it takes a lot of time and energy, and my schedule is definitely different. So at dinner, we're sitting down with the wife, like, hey, heads up, next 2 weeks, I'm going to be not here. Like, it's going to be a lot of work. I'm going to be in the trenches, just so you know, I'm not avoiding anything. Like, but if we can halt any conversation, like if you need me, I'm here, but like, I hope you don't need me kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, some people are in that situation right now, right? But the truth is we know a lot of people not in that situation that keep themselves in that problem.
Yeah.
And what are they avoiding? It's like, are you avoiding the uncomfortable conversation with your spouse? Maybe you're having, disruption with the kiddos. But I think, listen, if you're failing at home and succeeding at business, you're ultimately failing, big picture. And it's like, it's cool. If that's where you're at,
it'll probably come around.
Yeah. Let's wrap around it and let's just face reality. We're good at that. As entrepreneurs, we face reality eventually, but let's do it now because you do have the kiddos, you have the spouse, and you got to remember why you fell in love. Why'd you fall in love? There's a reason. And, the kids are using them as an excuse to grow or excuse to not grow.
Sure.
Dude, I think first of all, I don't know what I did all day without kids, right? Because you realize
you
time.
go back and you go, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like we used to have time to do whatever. Like where were we spending that?
Exactly.
I feel that all the time, man.
But now with kids, though, you become so much more efficient, effective, time, like, dude, starts becoming more about them, especially as you get older with sports. And now it's like, I don't have a life. My life is their life.
Well, some of us are lucky to have spouses. So I'm like, I look at my wife
spouses,
who just can get so much done. And I'm like, how did you just do all of that in such a short time? So that's a lucky blessing too. I know
for all of us.
Your wife, yep.
Dude, could you imagine if we picked the wrong partner? That changes all this. That changes all this game.
Yeah.
And
that's another accomplishment, right? Is our wives.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. They're very lucky.
I hope you're watching.
Our spouses are very, very, very lucky.
We'll tell them fast forward to minute 16. Look what I said about you. Well, cool. Well, tell us what you're doing now. I mean, I know that we talked about the DM family, but there's also the DM Alliance, which is how many members at this point? 150 people. You do a call with them every week and, talk about problems. And, as far as having somebody, that's a great resource for people to attach onto and be part of for sure.
What's interesting to me about all these DM Alliances, your group, all of our groups that we all belong to and have actually people belong to ours, is how many people are not willing to invest in themselves. The DM Alliance is $12,000 a year. And I'm like, and it's funny, like people won't do it. I'm like, you're not worth $12,000. It's not about me. It's not about Josh. Not you. It's about you as the investment in yourself. And if you don't think you're worth 12 grand, I genuinely don't want to hang out with you. I have nothing in common. I can't help you because you can't even help yourself. And I'm not saying you have to pay people, but like, I do know that is a sign of success. Yeah. You can be successful without it, but like, what does that look like? Do you want to work 12 more extra years to save 12 grand? Like, it's just so weird. They just don't understand.
There's so many things with it too that people don't realize. You talk about relationship capital. That 12 grand could turn into other relationships within that group, not just you. They don't, like, if they never meet you, I mean, they're going to hear you and stuff, but there's other relationship.
I'm the least important in the group if you do it right.
Right.
Yeah,
totally.
That's a lot of truth to that. I mean, and to kind of expand on that, like before in kind of the when you were talking about one of your big goals.
Yeah.
Is to help. Tell me about that goal, about 1,000.
Yeah, just, listen, I have some great partners in that space, but like getting companies, I grew up watching my uncles, my dad, everyone in my family does blue collar work. That's how I started too, right? So just seeing that there's a huge opportunity over the next 5 years for them to actually cash out and get life-changing money, not just for themselves, but maybe even their next generation or multi-generations. The truth is they're not very well versed on like how to protect and keep and grow money. So it's like, how do we help them get it? How do we help them guide, like be a steward of it, So I want to participate in like, the plumbing, the electric, the HVACs, the roofing company, all these cool environments.
Well, there's big companies like BlackRock and stuff that are buying blue collar companies.
Yeah. As soon as you get to a certain point, you're catching the eye of VC and private money. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at is you think about paying the $12,000 to be around somebody who is actively trying to make you a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like if they don't want to get in that room with you, I mean, there's probably worse places you could be than
they're afraid.
in a room with a bunch of people who want you to succeed.
Dude, you got to understand the average person has most people telling them, be grateful for what you have. Don't push the limits, blah, blah, blah. Like guys like us were like, dude, like you're making $600,000 a year. You should be making $6 million a year. Who's saying that at the VFW? No one's saying that.
Yeah.
Dude, you're buying everyone drinks because you're the big king of ding-a-ling in that room. So it's like, I think you got to get in rooms, and it's not just about the money, but what can the money do for you?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what's exciting to me, because I do know we can change our lives. We have, and we will do a lot more of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great.
Where you're at now, and you have partners in the blue collar space, what role do you play in your partnership?
Yeah, I try to play the least important role. No, I think, listen, doing this, right? Getting awareness, having great conversations with people that have connections, and just connecting the dots. So, hey, we know this guy, and boom, how do we put them together?
Yeah.
I think that's the key is, I was talking with some guy recently, like, dude, I'm not for hire per hour. I'm for hire for value. And I want a lot of money. Yeah. And I want you to get a lot of money. I think I'm good at connecting the dots. Talking, integrate, like good integrators, good operators, good, executors, CFOs. We definitely have to have CFO like folded in to make sure the books are solid, because that's where a lot of people fail. Mm-hmm. Just bringing all the pieces together of my 28.5 years and like, this is the player.
Yeah, then that's what I was kind of going with. I was alluding to, because that's a skill of yours for sure, is being that visionary. And there's a book called Rocket Fuel. There's a visionary and integrator. And even, obviously I saw it the most when we were doing a lot of stuff with ERC with you and Adam on, you guys really connected and you guys figured it out on your side, and then you blew it up, right? It takes that, kind of pinpointing on building your team. And that's why people say, hey, Nick Saban's awesome. He is awesome.
Yes.
But he's really, really good at picking the right people, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and that's why they had so much success national champion at LSU and Alabama. I think there's some other university.
Success leaves clues.
Yeah. So, but I that's definitely a skill of yours. And is it just something that you developed over time, or just kind of notice it one day? Or
well, listen, I mean, same thing we talked about before the show here. Like, how much does Jeff Bezos own of his own company? And he's worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And I used to want 100% of everything, and I always had a small amount.
Right.
As opposed to get great partners and get 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever the number is, but have strategic conversations and strategic growth. Like, how cool is it your partners make millions of dollars, right? Like the old me is like, dude, if they got millions, I just got lost millions. It's like, no, we just made more millions together.
Right.
And how fun is it to make millions with buddies that you like,
right.
So the old, and that things break. Right. I think that's another thing too. Control freak is, a lot of people are control freaks. They're afraid of letting go. No one does as good as me. The truth is, if you get the right partners, they'll do it better than you. If you let them stay in their lane and you stay in your lane, like Adam, Adam in particular, like he's great at one thing. I'm great at another thing. He knows I'm on the family at certain times, and he's grinding over here. We're just grinding different. And, not to say we don't collaborate a lot of times too, but like there's so many opportunities when you identify like what you're great at, like, and just go in with clear picture too. Like, yo, here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm not willing to do. Here's what you're willing to do. Mm-hmm. It's just like getting married.
It's finding that alignment.
Yeah. It's just like getting married. It's like, what do you believe in? Do you want kids? If they say no and you want kids, I can't do anything with this.
Right.
Like, I can't marry you and make you want to have kids now.
Right.
Right. So it's just like a business partnership. Let's talk about the stuff, address it, and let's just go to work.
Yeah. So much gold. So if you need to rewind this and watch it twice, if you're listening, do it, because this is gold right here. So I want to lead into this question. I got a question for Mark Jr. the third, big family guy right here, brought his son on the podcast. I got a question for you. What do you love about your dad? What's one thing, your favorite thing about dad?
Probably teaching me this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
that's awesome.
All the kids at my school, they don't know what 99% of the stuff you just said is.
Okay, but you got a head start. Love that.
It sounds like you like to learn too. You're like a sponge to learning. Sponge means you like to absorb.
Like
he loves to learn facts and data and stuff like that. He loves that kind of stuff.
Well, you got to be proud. You got to be proud to have
I call it the education. We all need education. That's just what type of education you like or don't like. So
your favorite education is what? Gym class?
Maybe. He's all no. So, well, appreciate it, Mark. And appreciate it, Mark. We love having you on here. I think you're a big inspiration to obviously everybody in the room, but everybody watching.
Thank you, guys.
Can take a lot from you, and we appreciate
thanks
you
for
being
coming,
on.
man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Well, till the next time, invest in your future.
Invest in yourself.
This is the Flat Bill Investor Podcast, signing off.
Signing off.